What happened in the Bundestag yesterday wasn't just another speech. It was an explosion that revealed the dark truth about Germany's leadership. And what we've uncovered will shake you to your core. Friedrich Merz, the man who promised to protect German borders, has just been exposed in the most dramatic confrontation in recent political history. The evidence is devastating. But the real shock isn't what he did. It's what he's planning next. Think your tax money is safe? Think again. While you were sleeping, the very foundation of German financial stability was being dismantled. The debt brake, your last protection against economic collapse, is being quietly removed. But that's just the surface. The border situation? It's worse than anyone dares to admit. Cities are breaking under pressure, but the government keeps silent. Why? Because what's happening now is just phase one of a larger plan. Let me show you something disturbing. Remember those security promises during the election? Every single one has been systematically reversed, not by accident, by design. And here's the pattern no one else is talking about. The numbers don't lie. German cities are reaching a breaking point. Schools are overwhelmed. Social systems are cracking. But instead of solutions, we're getting more empty promises. The question isn't whether this is a crisis, it's whether it's still reversible. What's most frightening isn't what's happening now, it's what's coming next. Our investigation has uncovered a pattern that points to something much bigger. Something that will affect every German family in the coming months. The evidence is clear. This isn't just poor leadership, it's a calculated dismantling of everything that made Germany stable and secure. And if you think it's bad now, wait until you see what's planned for summer 2024. Write in the comments if you're already seeing the effects in your city. We need to map this crisis before it's too late. Because what's coming next might be even more shocking. The seismic shift in German politics is more significant than most realize. What's unfolding in Berlin's corridors of power signals a fundamental transformation of European geopolitics. Alice Weidel's recent Bundestag address wasn't just another political speech. It was a warning shot across the bow of Germany's established order. Let's connect the dots. We're witnessing a €1 trillion debt package being rushed through Parliament, the largest in the Federal Republic's history. The timing isn't coincidental. While the mainstream media fixates on surface-level drama, the real story lies deeper. This massive financial burden, equivalent to thousands of euros per German citizen, is being forced through in what Weidel identifies as a direct assault on democratic legitimacy. Every pensioner, worker, and small business owner will bear this crushing weight. The answers remain obscured behind bureaucratic smoke and mirrors. The political establishment, led by Merz, is circumventing proper democratic processes. They're exploiting procedural loopholes, rushing through special sessions, operating in the shadows. This isn't governance, it's a power grab of historic proportions. What's particularly alarming is the timing. These decisions are being made as global markets show increasing signs of instability. The German economy, once Europe's powerhouse, stands at a precipice. The real consequences won't be felt immediately. They're designing it that way. The impact will hit hardest when it's too late to reverse course. The implications extend far beyond Germany's borders. We're seeing a domino effect across Europe as traditional parties desperately cling to power, willing to sacrifice their nation's financial futures for short-term political gains. The question isn't if this house of cards will collapse, but when. This €1 trillion package isn't just about money. It's about control, about reshaping the very foundation of German democracy, while citizens are distracted by immediate concerns. What's happening in Germany today could be coming to your country tomorrow. And while everyone's attention is focused on these visible power plays, something even more concerning is developing behind the scenes. What I'm about to reveal next will show you just how deep this rabbit hole goes. In the halls of the Bundestag, a storm is brewing as Alice Weidel delivers a scathing critique of Chancellor Merz's financial policies. Her words cut through the political fog like a sharp blade, exposing what she calls a betrayal of democratic principles and fiscal responsibility. The numbers she presents are staggering. 500 billion euros in special debt. Not investments, as Merz's administration claims, but a bottomless pit of financial irresponsibility. This isn't mere spending. It's a systematic dismantling of Germany's economic foundation, masked behind clever wordplay and vague promises of infrastructure measures. But where does this money actually go? According to Weidel, into an abyss of undefined projects and questionable programs. The debt brake removal for defense spending comes without upper limits, a blank check written against Germany's future. Yet our military remains under-equipped, while billions vanish without trace. The climate protection debt package appears as the final insult, a political bargaining chip with the Greens that threatens to strangle German industry. This isn't environmental stewardship. It's ideological pandering at the expense of economic stability. The real impact hits home when we look at the numbers per taxpayer. Currently, each working German carries a burden of €58,500. Under Merz's policies, this will skyrocket to €77,700, a crushing 33% increase. This isn't just statistics. It's a mortgage on our children's future. This financial recklessness reveals something deeper about Merz's character, Weidel argues. It shows a politician willing to sacrifice Germany's economic stability for power, displaying what she describes as a complete absence of honor and conscience. The consequences are clear. German industry faces potential collapse, taxpayers bear an unbearable burden, and future generations inherit a mountain of debt, all while the government continues its spending spree with apparently no consideration for tomorrow. Do you agree with what's happening? Tell us what you think. The financial spiral we're witnessing in Germany isn't just about numbers. It's about your savings, your salaries, your pensions. They're all at risk due to this unprecedented feast of fiscal irresponsibility. Our debt-to-GDP ratio is set to skyrocket from 64% to over 85%. This isn't merely an economic indicator, it's a harbinger of financial collapse. Germany, once a pillar of economic stability, is being transformed into a debtor nation unable to meet its obligations. What we're seeing is nothing short of a financial political coup against our people's welfare and our state's stability. The consequences are already visible in the markets. German federal bonds, once considered the risk-free benchmark for borrowing costs across the Eurozone, our pride and symbol of stability, are being dragged through the mud. The policy shift has catastrophically impacted risk premiums on German government bonds. Every basis point increase represents the blood, sweat, and tears of ordinary citizens. The mere announcement of these plans caused the yield on 10-year German government bonds to jump 16 basis points in a single day, and over 50 basis points in just 1 week. This occurred while the European Central Bank was actually lowering interest rates, a glaring testament to the destructive nature of these policies. This isn't just paperwork. It's real money disappearing from everyone's pockets. Future governments are being cornered into debt slavery, while Germany's creditworthiness in international markets hangs by a thread. Our nation is becoming a laughingstock on the world stage, transformed into a country that can't pay its bills. The entire Euro house of cards, which relies heavily on Germany's high credit rating, is now at risk. Like pulling the bottom card from a fragile structure, everything could collapse. Interest rates are set to soar, making mortgage payments unbearable for ordinary citizens. What do you think about the current financial situation in Germany? Leave your answer in the comments. Today, we'll analyze a remarkable speech that exposes the dangerous path Germany's leadership is taking. Alice Weidel's recent address in the Bundestag pulls no punches in revealing how Chancellor Merz's policies threaten to destroy the economic foundation of German society. The core of her message focuses on the devastating financial impact hitting ordinary citizens. She warns that Germans face a perfect storm of economic destruction. Skyrocketing mortgage rates that will force families to either sell their homes or live in constant fear of bankruptcy. The dream of homeownership, a cornerstone of German middle-class stability, is being systematically demolished. Weidel paints a stark picture of landlords, crushed by rising costs, squeezing tenants for every last euro. This means German families will pour their entire income into basic housing, leaving nothing for education, leisure, or building a future. But it doesn't stop there. The impact on imports will empty store shelves and send prices for everything from food to fuel through the roof. Wages will become worthless, savings will evaporate, and businesses will collapse as imported components become unaffordable. This isn't just a crisis. It's what Weidel calls an economic campaign to exterminate the prosperity of our people. Most disturbing is how Merz justifies this chaos. According to Weidel, he manufactures panic about supposed global threats, manipulating fear just as previous governments exploited COVID hysteria and climate alarmism to justify massive spending and restrict freedoms. The pattern is clear. Every crisis, whether real or invented, becomes an excuse to drain more money from citizens and strip away their remaining liberties. It's a path toward totalitarianism, sacrificing freedom and prosperity to serve globalist agendas. What makes this moment particularly critical is its timing. Just as the US and Russia appear ready for constructive dialogue, Germany's leadership seems determined to sabotage any chance of stability. What do you think about Merz's economic policies? Are they really destroying German prosperity as Weidel claims? Share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe together we can understand where this is heading. In the halls of the Bundestag, a powerful voice rings out against the current coalition's reckless spending. While German bridges crumble and children go hungry, billions flow to the conflict zone in the east. The Black-Red-Green coalition seems determined to pour our financial aid and weapons into that region, spending German taxpayers' hard-earned money with abandon. This betrayal of national interests cannot continue. Our infrastructure lies in ruins while warmongers funded by German money escalate conflicts instead of seeking peace. Chancellor Merz shows no conscience as he sacrifices our citizens' well-being and our treasury for foreign wars and foreign interests. Yes, Germany needs to strengthen its defense capabilities, but we need an army that's truly ready to protect our homeland, not just consume resources for globalist fantasies. The current military is a national embarrassment, unprepared for defense and seemingly designed only for money laundering schemes. This bottomless debt pit they've created won't solve anything. It will vanish just like the first special assets did. What's missing is strategy. Where is your strategy, Mr. Merz? All we see is power hunger and reckless spending. Attracting soldiers requires more than money. It demands positive patriotic self-image of our nation and military. Instead, this government mocks patriotism. Who would die for their woke left ideology and anti-national agenda? Who would sacrifice their life for gender-neutral bathrooms and climate hysteria being forced on our youth? Germany desperately needs investment in its abandoned infrastructure. Our roads, bridges, schools and hospitals decay while we fund foreign conflicts. What has Merz's party done during their decades in power except parasitically live off taxpayers while our country falls apart? Their €500 billion slush fund, manipulated to bypass budget law, isn't the solution for infrastructure or defense. It's another scheme to hide their machinations and deceive the people. What do you think about the current state of German infrastructure and defense spending? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart. I want to hear your take. In recent developments from the German Bundestag, Alice Weidel delivered a powerful address that cuts to the heart of Germany's current crisis. With state revenues exceeding €2 trillion, the fundamental question isn't about finding more money. It's about where that money goes. Weidel's analysis exposes a critical flaw in current policies. Instead of addressing domestic needs, billions flow into questionable initiatives. She demands an immediate halt to what she calls immigration into social systems, a practice draining German taxpayers through healthcare and education costs without reciprocal benefits. The security situation has reached a critical point. According to Weidel, uncontrolled migration threatens not just Germany's economic stability, but its cultural identity. She calls for immediate border control measures and systematic repatriation of illegal residents. Most striking is her criticism of climate policy spending. While elderly Germans struggle to afford basic necessities, choosing between heating and eating, billions are poured into what she describes as climate madness, expensive wind turbines and solar panels that burden industry without delivering promised benefits. The energy policy situation is dire. German businesses face closure due to soaring energy costs, while citizens struggle with rising bills. Weidel argues this isn't merely a policy failure, but a catastrophic miscalculation that threatens Germany's industrial backbone. She also targets state-funded NGOs, describing them as vehicles for anti-German agendas operating on taxpayer money. By redirecting these funds, she argues, Germany could free up hundreds of billions of euros for essential services, infrastructure, defense, and internal security. This isn't just about numbers, it's about survival. These funds represent resources that could strengthen German families, hospitals, and schools, rather than supporting foreign conflicts and ideologies that don't serve German interests. The situation mirrors similar challenges faced by many European nations, where billions in aid flow while domestic needs go unmet. What do you think about Germany's current spending priorities? The recent Bundestag session revealed a dramatic shift in German politics, as Alice Weidel delivered a devastating critique of Chancellor Friedrich Merz's leadership. Her words cut through parliamentary decorum, exposing what she sees as a betrayal of conservative principles and German interests. Weidel's central accusation strikes at Merz's political identity. She claims he's abandoned his promises to chase power, becoming a puppet of the Green Socialist agenda. A controversial document shows alarming concessions to social democratic policies that contradict the CDU's stance. Weidel points to massive tax burdens crushing German businesses and families, while Merz appears to bow before left-wing demands. This represents a fundamental surrender of conservative principles affecting millions of Germans. The AfD leader described Merz as crawling before the Greens. She highlighted how the CDU's economic policies now mirror those of the SPD and Greens: more redistribution, subsidies, and state control, departing from conservative values of economic freedom. Weidel's most potent criticism focuses on Merz's treatment of AfD voters. She argues that by dismissing over 10 million AfD supporters, Merz shows contempt for democratic choice. The current policies, she claims, are destroying German prosperity through deindustrialization and weakened security. The solution, according to Weidel, is abandoning mass migration, taxpayer waste, and planned economy. She positions the AfD as Germany's last hope for returning to common-sense governance and patriotism. This speech represents more than political theater. It's a warning about Germany's future direction and the establishment's failure to protect national interests. The growing support for AfD suggests many Germans share these concerns. What do you think about the current situation in German politics? Leave your thoughts about Merz's leadership and Germany's future direction